Hello and welcome everyone. This is Lou with Trackops, and today we're discussing scheduling your caseload. Thank you so much for joining us. So today's presentation should take about 15 minutes, maybe on the outside, maybe 20 minutes long. We will have time for questions at the end, and if you do have a question, I ask you to go ahead and drop that into the GoToMeeting chat panel there, the little chat box, and I'll go ahead and get to those at the end. If there are any questions, I'll definitely answer them. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, when we're talking about scheduling in Trackops, we're talking specifically about events and tasks. I wanted to talk real briefly as to what we mean at Trackops about what events and tasks actually are. So events have a specific start and end time, so like scheduling an afternoon of surveillance, and tasks have a due date. So that's when you expect maybe a particular report to be due. That's it. That's what we're talking about today. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about scheduling. So how to schedule events and tasks in Trackops? Well, we're going to look at 4 different ways today. These are ways that you've may already been using, and if not, you're going to find new ways to use Trackops, and that's always exciting. First, we're going to look at using the case map, and by far my favorite. You get a lot done when you use the case map to make a schedule event rather, and then you can always use the new button on your case overview page to schedule both an event and a task. You can of course use the calendar, and you can use the schedule. So those are 4 ways we're going to look at today of scheduling events and tasks in Trackops. Let's go ahead and have a look. Let's head on over to our dashboard. Where'd you go? There we go, case map. So I've already arrived on my case map, and I'm going to back out 1 second so you can see how I did that. I'm on my case overview page, and you can see that I currently have no investigator assigned to this case. It's a new case, but I know I have something to schedule. So from the case overview page, I want to go ahead and click on the map button. Great, and so this pulls up a map of the area for our subject, and there's our main subject. Our primary subject is Billy Blatsworth, and Billy's secondary address, both places I need to assign some surveillance, and I'm going to figure out the best way to do that here. So great. I also see that I have 3 other pins on the board on the map, and those are my investigators in the area. And we'll take a look at that, and that is essentially how we're going to assign this particular event. So we'll go ahead and click on Dick Tracy. He is the closest one to this particular location where I need to do some surveillance. So I'm going to just go ahead and see that in this case, I can see that I have a compatibility score of 100%, which means that it's in reference to the work preferences that you have assigned to your staff. In this case, the preferred region is local. Preferred services are both surveillance and background check, and since these coincide with the regions and the services that you have on your case type. So those all align for Dick Tracy, and I can go ahead and create the event. Great. So a pop-up that may not appear on your screen that when you're viewing right now, but will definitely appear whenever you do this same thing that I just did on your version of Trackops, is you're going to have a message that pops up. It says, in order for this staff member to be assigned to the event, they must first be assigned to the case. Would you like to assign Dick Tracy to the case? And yes, this is great. This is so convenient. So now I can assign the investigator to the case at the same time that I give them this event to go do. I can also set Dick Tracy as the primary right here, already pre-selected as the investigator. Dick Tracy is going to get assigned to the case, just like that. Title of this is just going to be Surveillance on Home Address. And then we're going to go ahead and make sure that's for Billy. We're going to set the time. Let's see, let's make it there. Okay. Great. Make sure they select the correct address. Amazing. I can send Dick Tracy an alert to remind them of this particular event. I'll send it one day before. If I had any notes, I'd drop them in here, but I don't. So I'm just going to save that event. Great, this gives me the agenda for Dick Tracy. It kind of recaps what I just did. Awesome. And you notice that Dick Tracy has turned from blue to green. Now that tells me that green is an assigned investigator on this case. That's great. All right, so let's head on over to the secondary residence here. And great. So I have to do some surveillance here as well. I think I'll just go ahead and see what Ian is up to. I just click on him there. I can also click over here on the left-hand side. And I can see his compatibility score is, it's about 67%. And it's important to look at this as to why his score is a little bit lower. I see an X next to local, which means that I don't think that that Ian is in the area. And I can double check that because I can see he's using the mobile app. He's checked in recently somewhere else. When I click on this link, it's going to take me to a map, and it's going to show me that he's not even in the state. He's not a good option for the surveillance. So that doesn't work out for me at all. I'm going to have to back out. And I do know I saw this other pin up by Dick Tracy, and that's good old Shirley Holmes. And we can take a look at her compatibility and see that, again, she's about 67%. She's local. She's checked off for surveillance, which is great, which is what I need her for. And the only reason why she has any sort of a lower compatibility score is because she also prefers to do background checks, which I don't need to worry about. That's not even what I'm concerned about. I'm going to go ahead and create the event. And of course, I get the notification again that I want to add Shirley to the case. I do. I already have Dick Tracy as the primary, so I'm not gonna usurp Dick Tracy. And say surveillance on secondary house. Great. Again, this is for Billy Blatsworth, but I am going to choose a secondary residence as the focus of the surveillance. Go ahead, give Shirley a day notice. I'm going to save the event. Oh, I have to set it in the future. Actually, I don't want. I want to have it for that for the 11th. Make sure that both of those line up in the time. Great. All right. Great, I get the overview there. So you can see that using the case map, I can do several things. I can assign them to the case. I can make them the primary investigator on the case, and then I can, of course, schedule them for their particular event. You can also see that now, any sort of event I have scheduled is now has the yellow icon or the yellow pin with the little calendar icon on it. That tells me that is scheduled. And when I click on it, it populates a little pop-up window, tells me when it is, gives me the brief overview of that. If I can scroll out, I have a better view of what's going on. See, now I've populated all this information there. That is for me, one of the best ways to schedule and get a lot of work done in one place. Let's back out here for a second. Let's head on over to another case, one of my recent cases. Let's go over and do this here. It's a new case. So another way to assign an event is to go ahead and click on the New button. And really, this is your hub to do just about everything on your case overview. So if you're not familiar with this, or you don't use it, or you didn't know what it was, this is what it is. It lets you do just about everything on your case. In this situation, I'm going to go ahead and click a new event, and then here I am again. So one of the main benefits of using both the case map and that new button is it already populates your case number. It always puts it into the case. So you're in the best place possible to make sure that this is going to go to the correct case. And then, of course, you schedule at the correct time. And this is going to be another surveillance. The subject, good old Clive. And then Clive is going to be, we're going to observe him next week. Keep the time good. Great. Great. So now I have an option here on this screen to find available staff. I can definitely pick down the drop-down menu. But can I also select from Find Available Staff? And this is going to pull up the schedule for that week. So these are my staff members and all the different things that they're doing. And I'm going to say on Monday, I think I'm going to go ahead and have Joe Smith take this one. Go ahead and I just double click in that. I just select on Joe Smith's name, and it'll ask me again, do I want to assign Joe? Yes. And then I'm going to be the investigator. Go ahead and set Joe as the primary. Great. Give him an alert. Day before. You can see I have the option of do all sorts of different alerts for Joe, but one day out is pretty good. Great. I've scheduled an event. Perfect. Great. Now, I realized that I need to have a couple more of these surveillances done on Clive Beaumont, and instead of going through and creating another one, I can actually just duplicate. All right, just hit the duplicate button on that event, and what it does is it generates all the same information again. The only thing I'll need to change is the date. So I'm going to also want to have, probably want to say, although it is part 2, same address for Clive, and find available staff again. It looks like Joe Smith is available again that day. Great. Awesome. Great, so that's all set there. So let's go ahead and head back to our case overview page. Another thing we can do is assign a task in the same way. Click the new button, the new task, and I can say report due on Clive Beaumont. So this needs action, and you can say that this needs to be due that week. I don't necessarily need to worry this information. And then I want to assign somebody else to do this particular work. Someone who's already assigned to the case. I have Devana here. She's going to go ahead and take care of this for me. I just use the drop-down menu this time. And say, please have this report in on time. Great. Let's save that event, or save that task. Great. So we've looked at using the case map. We've looked at using the new button on your case overview page. There's another way to schedule events, and it's depending on how you want to do things. There's different options. So we're going to go ahead and head over to our calendar. Now we can see we have a good overview of how to of our calendar, and good of all the different things we have going on, a bunch of stuff that we just scheduled. And the easiest way to schedule an event is just to double click on your calendar when you're looking at the calendar, and then you can just create an event just by double clicking and populating all that information like we just did. Another way is to click the new task button on the calendar page and create a new task that way. And one of the things you might notice that all these different colors for all of our different types of calendars that we have on this page. And you can create and edit any number of different calendars. You can make them specifically for events or specifically for tasks. It's up to you, and you can find that on your settings tab. And then finally, another way to create an event or a task. It should be noted. Almost forgot. Should be noted that you have to have a little bit more information when you're creating from the calendar. Since I mentioned earlier, it's convenient to be in the case itself. Here we're not in the case, so we have to have some idea of what we want to do and some case information. So in the subject name, case number, claim number, any of your reference type information, you can generate and pull up that information. I know the subject's last name. We'll go ahead and create a new event real quick and just show you how to do that. And this is a doctor's appointment. Subject for Johnny Storm. It's not an all-day event, so let's go ahead. That's good. I'm just going to check on that. Let's see. Shirley Holmes. Yep, assign her to the case. As an investigator. Great. All right. Great. So I scheduled it by double-clicking on that. And of course, just a reminder, I did not have the case information generated because I'm not in a case because I'm using the calendar. And so I do have to have some more information there. Let's move back out of that. All right, so the final way I'm going to show you today to schedule an event is to use the schedule itself. So this way I can see the availability of my staff. I'll look at the following week. And if I want somebody specifically to do it, so I don't double book them, I can go ahead and take a look at their week. And I can see, all right, well, I don't have Devonna doing anything next week. And I know I need to have a live and well check done on Monday. I'll go ahead and double click on that date on Devonna. And I was going to schedule an alive and well check. Again, I do need to have some more information. Let's see. Great. All right. So I'm missing some information here for the address, and that's okay. I can always come back and edit that later. Devonna. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and save the event. Great. So that is scheduling on for Trackops. Several different ways to make sure that you get your employees where they need to be, when they need to be. Some ways work very easily, and some ways just might depend on how you prefer to schedule your employees. If you have any questions, I'll go and take those now, and I'm happy to answer them. Great. I don't think I have any questions today. I appreciate your time. We look forward to seeing you next month. Everybody have a great day. Thank you for using Trackops.